You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis on all things sports. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, subscribe to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports, and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Are you looking for a place to listen to your favorite music and sports? Look no further. WLSN, the Lieb Sports and Music Network, is a web-based music and sports network. Our network was created to provide authentic, high-energy entertainment through live streaming to a national audience. We play popular music while hosting podcasts from all over the world. Curious? Check us out on the web at liebsports.com. That's LEEIB sports.com. Or find us on the TuneIn Radio app. Got Alexa? Just say, Alexa, play WLSN on TuneIn. WLSN is America's #1 blog-themed sports and music network.
Hey, everyone in, let's go. Huddle up on 3. 1, 2, 3, huddle up.
I don't want them to gain another yard.
You blitz all night. If they cross the line of scrimmage, I'm going to take every last one of you out. You make sure they remember forever the night they played the Titans.
The Eagles will keep the offense out there in a 4th and goal from the 1.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Hold on. Here we go.
I would feel better at this point taking the 3 points.
Here we go.
And if you make it, it's great. But if you don't make it, it's a big momentum swing.
Philly special. Ready? Here we go.
Goes directly to Clement. Clement reverses it. And it is a touchdown by Nick Foles.
Let's go.
Russian 3, dropping 8. Uyangalele steps up, loads and throws. It's caught. It's pitched backwards, up in the air. It's on the ground, still in Clemson's hands. And now it is down. It is over. And the Irish have knocked off #1 Clemson.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
We did it our way, baby. We did it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle Up Podcast. We are live November the 2nd, 2021, and we are glad to be back with you for another week. Jim, Kyle, and Ernest EJ Christian 7 are back with you. And before you even say it, Kyle, yes, I kept the clip in the open. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I remind the College Football Playoff Committee that Notre Dame beat #1 Clemson last year, it might help them in this year's playoff standings. But we'll get there. Make sure you're following
Jim,
us.
give yourself a bell. Look at this. I can't even dunk. He just took the alley-oop and slammed it home. Sure, it was in the wrong net, but man, what a play.
I missed everything to say because my fucking earphones came out for a second. The sound.
Well, you'll have to listen back on playback tomorrow.
I guess or tonight.
Make sure you follow us on
like a lullaby.
I mean, he does have multiple podcast outlets. You're good to go, Pun.
It's
right.
It's true. All the podcast platforms, YouTube as well.
Still in jail.
What's that?
Still in jail.
Well, no. You're on stakeout. You're putting the bad guys in jail. Of course, with some of your takes on Twitter tonight, as he announced that EJ Christian 7, perhaps you should be jailed.
You were in that. Stop it.
But your children deserve to have their father at home.
Hey, thank you.
You can follow the show at Huddle Up Podcast on Twitter and Facebook at Huddle Up Pod on Instagram. Subscribe on all podcast platforms. Gentlemen, how we doing this week, EJ?
I am well. You know, I feel like the Giants won yesterday, even though they didn't win.
Well, at this point, a close loss to a bad team is the best you can do. So,
Oh yeah, especially if you're Oregon, right?
apparently,
Ooh. Nice tease.
Kyle
Early and
coming
often.
out hot already. Woo! I was gonna start, and Kyle, how are you doing this week?
Man, listen, I'm busy, but I'm doing football stuff. Went to talk to Gus Malzahn on Monday at the press conference. I have a media day event coming up on Thursday. Yeah, I covered did that with the 3-point conversion. Thank you for the ding and reminding me to do it properly.
Ding!
You would have seen that press conference on my Facebook page, the student of the game. Though not announced yet, there is another media event I will be attending for UCF Hoops on Thursday. So look out for that. And just because he deserves the shouts, you may see my original Aaron Evans painting behind me. Starting this week, he will be painting a new mural at the Bounce House. So, you know, give the Frog King your respect, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway.
Very nice.
Yes, sir.
You know, I was going to start this week with talking about what we learned out of the Big Ten this past weekend, but I feel like we just have to just go right into the big topic of the week, of the night.
Hold on, right into it, huh? Okay, let me get ready.
It's fresh. This shit's fucking literally like within 2 hours. So like, let's go.
It's hot off the presses, man.
Oh, let's go.
So we will start with the official college football playoff rankings, the first one of the season. Then we will get to what our top 6 would be. And I feel like, well, at least 2 of us on the panel will be a little bit closer to what it actually should be. But let's start with it. I'm going to put the whole graphic here. If you watch,
fancy.
That's funny. I have the same graphic on my desktop. We'll play it, Jim.
Very nice. You know, let's start in the top 10. I mean, you can view and look and see elsewhere from 11 to 25. But Notre Dame checks in at 10, Wake Forest 9, Oklahoma checking in at 8, Michigan 7, Cincinnati 6, Ohio State 5, Oregon 4, Michigan State 3, Alabama 2, and obviously no surprise, the Georgia Bulldogs on top at number 1 in the first standing. So let's start between 7 and 10 because I know we're going to have some thoughts about the top 6. But from 7 to 10, Michigan, Oklahoma, Wake Forest, Notre Dame. Kyle, what do you think about 7 to 10?
Listen, it pains me to do it, and normally I wouldn't defend them. And really, frankly, it's their own damn fault for competing with juggernauts like FSU and Purdue and Toledo in close games. But Wake Forest has no damn business in the top 10. And though there are great minds who have warped themselves into thinking that Wake Forest is an actual formidable team and that the ACC is a credible football conference, you want to put them at 10 because they're at the head of their conference and they're undefeated. All right, fine. It's kind of dumb, but hey, this isn't like the playoff is being played tomorrow. Put a conference leader at 10. Notre Dame should be no lower than 9th on this list. Everything else here, generally speaking, I'm happy with. I'm especially happy that Oklahoma is this low.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Wake Forest's schedule, like their best win is 45 40. Their best win is
exactly.
Is it 45-7 over Duke? Is it
I'll tell you what,
35-14 over Florida State? Like,
if we were looking at basketball rankings, that would be damn impressive. They should be much higher than 9.
Right. Yeah.
My gosh. Like I knew it was bad, but I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, you did. Or you should have.
You know, it's brutal. EJ, your thoughts on 7?
No, Kyle hit the nail on the head. Like, you know, if you're gonna put Wake Forest in the top 10, fine, do that. But 10 should be the absolute ceiling. I mean, Notre Dame has a better case of being the top, closer to that than anything else. No, I think they should be really involved. Now, the big story tonight, really, to be honest, outside the top 6 and debating that, and we'll get to that in a second. Obviously, there's a lot of fighting we're going to be having here, the committee is listening to the fans, and a lot of people are saying Oklahoma should not be anywhere near close. You've been saying, especially too, Kyle, and the committee came through. I'm surprised the committee put them not only low, but this low.
Make sure you add the words "in this example."
There you go.
Listening to
I
the
think that's
fans.
the key
Right.
verbiage there. In the case of the Oklahoma Sooners, the committee got it right.
And add, please, 2 more keywords, Jim. For now.
For now, yes. I mean, there's obviously things will change and play out and evolve over the final month or month plus here of the college football season. And that's another thing is like I can look at these rankings and no different than like in years past when Notre Dame at times was too low or too high, depending on what side of the fence you're sitting on. My argument was always to people, there's still a month left. This is the first one. This isn't the last one.
And those who are Notre Dame haters, there's plenty of room for them to drop. It's not like Notre Dame has an impressive win on their schedule right now. No offense, Jim.
No, they don't. You're right. I'd say their most impressive win was probably this past Saturday against North Carolina, who's not even in the top 25.
Who's only impressive by association.
Oh, wait, no, never mind. I lie about that because Notre Dame has a top 25 win over number 21 Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Which how them and Iowa are where they are, and a few other teams outside of that top 10 are where they are.
You know, Jim, it's kind of funny you mention that. How Iowa got so much press and love, my good friend. Gary Barta, who's been doing a lot of the speaking, swearing up and down, according to statements quoted on Twitter and the social medias and other places, he proclaims and swears that no preseason rankings or previous I don't have the exact wording in front of me because all the stuff I pulled up, I did pull up that tweet. Sorry, my bad. I have to work on that, but here's what I can do. I can stall and quickly open up the tweet in front of my face. On the CFB conference call, Chair Gary Barta, the committee starts with no prior assumptions. We don't think about what happened in previous years. Preseason polls do not come into discussion. Now, Jim, you're probably wondering, you fat bastard, why are you hijacking my show to read that drivel that no one actually believes? That is a great question, and this is why you're a good host, Big Jim. Please tell me the position held by Gary Barta. Do you know? I didn't until just this evening.
I do. I don't. I'll do the good host. Kyle, who is Gary Barta?
Right you are, friend. He is the athletic director of Iowa.
Oh, how convenient.
Carry on.
Iowa who?
Exactly.
We have 2 losses now?
Yeah, I believe, right?
Yeah. And sometimes the world comes at you fast, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It certainly does.
Number 2 hell.
I was happy to see they put Michigan, despite the loss this weekend, where they were. I thought it was going to mean that Michigan State was higher. Although some can make the argument that the actual 2-3 positioning doesn't necessarily matter because those two teams are going to play each other. But unfortunately, in this case, I think it does. And let's look at those top 6.
Well, before we do that, Jim, I have to be a fair and true journalist here and recognize that for those who think that Notre Dame is ranked too high, bottom of the list, Tyrone Willingham, former Stanford, Notre Dame, and Washington head coach.
You think Willingham's going to give Notre Dame the benefit of the doubt? They did overpay him, so he might. He certainly did get overpaid at Notre Dame. Not as overpaid as Charlie Weiss, but he did get overpaid nonetheless.
Look at Kyle's face.
Do you get that I'm not done yet bitch's face?
I mean, Kyle, do you have more to say about this?
No, not in this segment.
Okay.
He's fired up for the top of 6.
He is just waiting. He's like a firework waiting to launch.
And for those that are wondering, I did this tonight so I could be in the same state of mind as the committee before I put this shit together.
Oh God.
All right, let's look at the top 6. Nobody's arguing Georgia at number 1.
Hey, they got 2 things right.
They got this one right and they got Oklahoma right. Good job. Now, Alabama at number 2.
Okay.
This is where I have the problem with Alabama at number 2. It's not that I don't necessarily think Alabama belongs in the top 4, because right now I personally still have them in my top 4, which we'll get to. My problem is them at number 2 tells me that they are in a prime position to absolutely remain in the top 4 at the end, because the committee has made the statement now that a loss to a mediocre at best team, who is too highly ranked at 13 in Texas A&M, is okay by the committee's standards for Alabama. And that's wherein lies the problem, because they are setting up right now that a upset win over a team in your conference that is ranked higher than you means less than a loss to a mediocre team that is in your conference, because if it did, Michigan State would be above Alabama.
Like, listen, man.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's so many, to me, there's so many bad messages as the committee is sending, because what this tells me is Alabama wins out, Georgia wins out, the two teams play each other, and by all accounts, it should probably be a close game. And it doesn't matter who wins that game, because those two teams, if it's close, are going to be in the Final Four.
Are we sure though? Let's say Georgia beats Alabama, but let's say some of these teams hold on, Alabama with 2 losses, and say Ohio State runs the table, and let's say
it won't matter.
Give me a point spread on the conference championship game. EJ.
7 or less.
I would say Georgia by 2.5.
Okay, then the answer is yes. Alabama will still get in.
Because if Ohio State runs the table, that means Michigan State's out. So Ohio State's in, but Michigan State obviously is not.
Michigan State would play them in the conference championship in your scenario.
They're actually playing for weeks too. Also,
yeah, they play in a couple weeks.
I didn't check the schedule yet, but
the Big Ten has a lot of shit be going on, and the Big Ten right now is the most interesting conference right now of the entire year going forward, based on these rankings, because a lot of what's happened in the last couple weeks are Big Ten related. Iowa number 2, bye. Michigan State, all these things. Penn State was a threat for a little while. Goodbye. So the Big Ten has been the conference that's been had most of the moving and shakers in this top 6, we will
say. EJ, you mentioned Penn State. John Urschel, former Penn State offensive lineman, member of the committee.
Wow.
Well, one thing I want to add too, Jim, I appreciate the frustration from that point of view, but I don't feel like we, the three of us, can attack that particular ranking, especially today, right? Because what they're doing is they've set it up to where these games have still not been played, right?
Yeah.
Just as we have in our own rankings on occasion. I wanted to see the outcome of what happened in East Lansing before I took Michigan out, for example. I saw it. That's probably going to change my rankings. If I didn't, I would suck at college football, or at least analyzing it, right?
Sure.
We have made the conversation and points ourselves already about the craziness in the Big Ten and the SEC, and about that being a close game. And I'll admit my bias up front with the SEC more than the committee does, I'm sure. Hold on, let me get myself committee ready. The SEC is head and shoulders above.
Yeah,
as I joke all the time, it's the best college football money can buy. But what if you don't believe that that's going on? It matters more in the South. Programs in the SEC are generally better unless they're named Texas and Oklahoma, and technically they're not in there yet. So, so I don't feel like we can credibly go after the committee yet for Alabama's placement. Now, should they blow, let's say, the Iron Bowl and they're still in the top 4? Nope.
Well, I think any loss outside of the SEC title game, is
oh yeah, absolutely.
That's why I picked that game as a particular simulation.
And regardless of Auburn being whatever they are in the top 15, that doesn't matter. If Alabama loses any other game besides the SEC title game.
Let me say this quick though about Alabama. Your point is valid. Like, do I personally think Alabama's the second best team in college football right now? Personally, yes. I think if they play Michigan State, they'll beat Michigan State. If they play Oregon, beat Oregon.
See,
but
you
the point is
can't
that,
do that.
no, I get what you're saying.
Oh, you're
No,
going.
but your
Sorry,
point is
go ahead.
valid about the argument about Michigan State should be ahead of them, whatever. That's valid. I agree. Like I said, I'm okay with them number 2. There's an argument you can debate that maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 4, but I'm not gonna lose sleep about being number 2 right now. To be honest with you. So
see, but that's what makes that's the problem is even guys who aren't on the committee but are out there with credible voices, guys we talked to, guys that swung in and defended you on Twitter tonight, make bad assumptions.
You gonna mention some names here? So gonna pop?
No, I'm not going to do that to him because he doesn't deserve it. Okay, everyone's allowed a mistake. Heck, I let you get away with plenty, and I still dunk on you 30 times a show. So,
Come on, what a big deal.
also, he was my boss at one point. I got to respect that.
It's true.
So,
Ooh,
what's that?
that's it. Sub one. That's his name, sort of.
This is why you're a dick, EJ. Anyways, so
We'll text him.
the whole piece comes up where the comment is made, hey, I agree with these 6. But Cincinnati's schedule's awful. They never beat the ACC. The next ranked ACC is effing 9th, and they don't belong there. Both these things can't be true. And I point that out, that this is the insanity that takes place. And it's all because you have people who are in the system making decisions like this.
Right.
Okay? And also, there's not a clear set of rules. I love being allowed for the eyeball test, but certain rules have to be made for the statements like the one we see. Well, they can never compete in the ACC. First of all, look at the records, ladies and gentlemen. They're constantly better against the ACC. The ACC can't beat the AAC. It doesn't happen unless it's South Florida, and that's why they're about ready to get jettisoned. But the punchline is there's just some sort of line of demarcation has to be built because it allows the committee to move the goalpost.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and for me, it's like I have a problem with Michigan State not being above Alabama. I don't have a problem with Oregon being above Ohio State. But I have my problem is, they're saying that like wins matter, and I saw a quote. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but it something along the lines of like what Cincinnati went into Notre Dame and they won, but like what else have they done?
Convincingly,
right? They won convincingly against Notre Dame, who is number 10 in the committee's top 10.
Correct.
Week.
Possibly thanks to Ty Willingham.
Possibly, you can make that argument. I don't.
Yeah.
But
it's not a good look. We'll leave it there, Jim. I'm mostly joking, but you have to admit it's not a good look.
I think you're even more jaded about the committee than I am. So
you're damn right I am, because I told you this would happen months ago, and you fought me hard.
I did.
Remember.
You're right. I did. And, now I'm sitting here going, fuck, Kyle was right, which sucks, but I'll say it.
It's hard to admit that, believe me. I do all the time. Like, fuck, you're correct.
But like,
you would know most of our, wouldn't you, EJ?
Exactly.
Anyways,
but yeah, like my biggest problem in this is Cincinnati at 6, because again, Michigan State, if they run the table, they are going to be in. So
right.
It's not a huge problem that they're at 3, not above Alabama.
Yeah.
If Ohio State runs the table, they're going to be
right.
in.
Exactly.
So it doesn't necessarily matter that they're below Oregon at this point.
Right.
If Oregon runs the table based on what we see tonight, they are probably going to be in regardless of what happens around them. My problem is you have a team that went in and beat, at the time, what were they, 4th, 5th in the country? They're 10th in this ranking.
Oh, okay.
Cincinnati beat Notre Dame, broke a 27-game home winning streak in South Bend, something that at the time number 1 Clemson team couldn't do a year ago. And so you're going to tell me that a loss to a then unranked team for Alabama is still going to that's still going to put you at number 2. That a loss to a I don't remember what Oregon was when they played Ohio State. Like the number, it doesn't add up. The rules and standards don't add up if you really start digging into how Cincinnati is at 6,
right?
Everybody else around them.
Let me identify the problem real quick. Okay,
No,
the 6 teams are in the bubble. 6 teams are correct. These 6 belong in the bubble.
Yeah,
now,
one
again,
of those teams can't win the ACC.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. My issue right now is 4 through 6. Let's defend real quick. Ohio State's too high. Let's fix that. My reaction to Oregon being number 4, why they should be there, is because if the committee sees Ohio State as a number 5 team in this thing, based on this rankings, then Oregon has to be number 4 by default because they have that head-to-head win over that said team. Now, personally, if you ask me how it should be ranked, I agree with Kyle. Cincy number 4, absolutely. It should be Cincy 4, Oregon 5, Ohio State 6. That's how it should be, personally, in my opinion. Based on the rankings they put out, it's Oregon should be ahead of Ohio State, no matter how you slice it, because they have that head-to-head win against that team. That's my biggest problem with the 6 here. The 6 is correct in terms of the teams that are in the bubble, but I think if I was ranking it, I would have Cincy 4, because that, again, number 10 Notre Dame. James has said it. It's correct.
Oh, he's James now, ladies and gentlemen.
James. James. No. But seriously, I am reacting, and when I was saying on Twitter, it was reacting to what they were telling me. And if you're telling me the Ohio State is the 5 best team in the country based on the rankings, then Oregon by default should be number 4 based on the head win against Ohio State. That's all I was defending.
For me, the reason I have Oregon above Ohio State has more to do with what I've seen from Ohio State over the last couple of weeks. Yes, I combine the fact that Oregon beat Ohio State.
That should matter more than anything else. Head-to-head should matter more than anything else.
That's ridiculous.
I don't agree.
No, if you're going tit for tat, if both teams are right next to each other, what's the tiebreaker?
I don't think it should matter most. And then this is my point. I don't think it should matter most, because the reason I put Oregon, because my top 6 this week: Georgia, Michigan State, Alabama, Cincinnati, Oregon, Ohio State. And the reason I have Oregon above Ohio State is because they beat them, but also because what I have seen from Ohio State, and particularly this past weekend against a not good Penn State team. And Ohio State, it was the first quote unquote real competition, and I don't even know what that actually means, but since the loss to Oregon, at home, at night, and they did not look convincing against a bad Penn State.
Fair point. You and I agree on the 4 through 6, though. We agree on that. 4 through 6.
So yes, Oregon is above them. Oregon has a bad loss. That's a fact. That loss is pretty bad. But to me, it's about Ohio State in their first anything that resembles competition since the loss to Oregon did not look convincing. And again, it was at home. So that's you've lost at home and you have a bad win against a bad team at home. So to me, that it's not just because Oregon won. A head-to-head is not the be-all, end-all. But in this case, for me, it played a factor.
And I know in the past that Ohio State has been penalized thus, losing to an unranked team and then being excluded from the playoff to let Oklahoma in again in past years. But I'm not even going to take that into account here.
That was fun. Remember we used to debate that a couple years ago? That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. But of course, Mr. Barta of Iowa, who is the athletic director there, has told us that no preconceptions are entered into this. So let's take that off the table.
Okay, go ahead.
I heard somebody say that Ohio State is ranked too high. Okay, and I would ask what their quality win is.
Ohio State?
Yeah.
The quality win is just Penn State.
I was waiting for Jim to say that. But no. It's good that you said it.
Wait, Kyle, ask that question again.
Reverse it. Here you go.
So my question to you gentlemen is, what is Ohio State's big win? Also a fair response and kind of what I did expect from Jim. But hey, EJ, I'm going to give you credit. You were on point being an actual football analyst in that moment, and thank you for it. Go Heat, bitch. Anyways, so, which is interesting. So if Ohio State
Jason,
is...
you don't get to play the rankings based on what you think will happen.
Even
if you claim you know it will happen, you don't get to base that into the rankings this week.
Yeah, and Jason, to your point, it very well could be, there still could be time. And then I'd laugh that you actually think Michigan's going to beat Ohio State. Anyways.
Based on, I don't think so now. That's unfortunate. I hate Ohio State.
At any rate, so if Ohio State is too high, because all they've done is beaten, a.k.a. Jim's favorite Nittany Lions, what is Oregon then building its temple on? UCLA? Oh, so let me get this straight. They beat a wannabe team that's ranked too high.
I agree.
That is only beaten. And you want to tell me Oregon belongs in there over Cincinnati? Well, what's the win that Cincinnati has? Why, it's a top 10 ranked team. Granted,
on the road.
They competed on the road. Thank you for that addition, sir. And granted, all that Notre Dame's done since is going to overtime against a team that lost to Jacksonville State and struggled with the
That was before that game, dickhead.
Hey, at least I didn't bring up Pitt in triple overtime, which them at number 25 is. I got you, buddy, gay. See, I don't need a soundboard. I am my soundboard, motherfuckers. All right.
Go fuck yourself.
See, that's the problem with me being my soundboard is if Joe nails it and I'm paralyzed with laughter, I'm just screwed. Anyway,
I think we all agree, though. Really, be honest.
No, we don't. You defended Oregon quite vehemently, sir.
I defended the
Canadians in public. I can pull it up now and have Jim put it on the damn screen about how you're okay with the top 4. And don't give me this fence straddling bullcrap again, because I don't want you hurting that part of your body. Your wife might need it later, okay?
That's true.
Stop straddling the fence and recognize what you said, okay? Ooh. All right? And here's the thing. Oh no! Listen, y'all fools, like people who I respect, burn me in my very soul tonight. Obviously, that doesn't include a Patriots fan, but
we haven't gotten to the NFL yet.
Wow, Mr. Sarcasm, yeah, I don't care.
But so we asked these questions of Cincinnati, who the big win is, and you got bupkis for me. Listen, I personally don't have a problem with Bama at 2. You want to put Michigan State at 2 and Bama 3? Cool.
Have at it.
The hell ever. The other thing that it might actually let the committee do is look credible for 30 bleeping seconds that you aren't just shoving a middle finger in the face of the G5 again. Okay? You don't have any excuses this time. And so let's fast forward to the end of the year, and let's say that Cincinnati is kept out and they beat I don't know, Michigan in a bowl game as an at-large, as the G5 has the opportunity to do, a la UCF beating Auburn, and then later recruiting their coach. And they win that game. And then they assert themselves as national championships. And everyone is going to mock them for it. I ask you, gentlemen, what other recourse do these schools have? Because no one's going to schedule them. They're too damn scared.
I mean, Notre Dame wasn't scared.
How'd that go? And yeah, they were scared. They still haven't scheduled UCF yet either for that, Jim. Anyways, so he didn't like that.
I mean, Notre Dame. I don't know what you want me to say. Notre Dame lost to Cincinnati, but they scheduled them, and they're
too scared. And they're still too scared to schedule UCF, even though as a member
beat UCF this year, so maybe they should have scheduled them and not Cincinnati.
God, with all those injuries, you probably would have.
Do you think what I'm saying is straddling the fence, though?
Absolutely, you said one thing on Twitter, and then you came on here and changed your answer.
No.
I know you're doing it because that's some stuff G Steely.
I'm reacting to their rankings. If you're placing Ohio State at number 5, then Oregon should be ahead of them, no matter how you slice it. Okay, Cincy should be number 4, though. I agree.
Right, but didn't you say that you agreed?
Yes, he did.
With the 4 and the 6. Like
No, I didn't say with the 4 and 6. I said I give it the 6 teams in the 6 in the bubble. That's what I said. But if you're putting Ohio State as the number 5 team in the country, then Oregon has to be ahead of them. That's like I said. Personally, it should be Cincy 4, Oregon 5.
That's where your statement gets even more ridiculous. EJ, how many unranked teams has Ohio State lost to?
How many unranked teams or ranked teams?
How many unranked teams has Ohio State lost to?
None.
That'll be all. So
I know Oregon lost it, but again, they beat Ohio State though. So
then you're moving the goalpost. At some point,
how many unranked teams has Cincinnati lost to?
That would also be the same number, and they also have a ranked win on their belt.
There you go.
Top 10, I would add. Okay, so no way you
current top 10, not even a at the time top 10. You know what I mean?
Within the confines of the system.
Let me clean up my spilled milk here, okay?
Here it goes.
Cincy 4, Oregon 5, Ohio State 6. That's the way it should. And
when you run for office, I want you to skip the state level and go straight to Capitol Hill, EJ. I'm just saying.
Make America great.
That was really good. I've never heard a man of color do a Trump impression that good before.
Hey, man, I got that shit down packed now.
Don't be rude.
China! Wait, give me your best China.
China.
No, I want him to do it. I know you got it.
Catching up on a couple questions here. He goes, Jason says the thing that's busted is say Notre Dame wins the rest of their games. Does it help Cincinnati's placement?
Absolutely. It should.
It strengthens their resume. If everybody else is going to use
the problem is that the Big Ten has teams that were involved, Ohio State, Michigan State, all have big games ahead, which means they're
Does Notre Dame play Wake Forest?
They don't
before the season's out. Okay, so they don't. Do they play anybody in the ACC that's ranked? Notice I didn't say good. I said ranked.
Let me pull up the schedule. I don't think there's a great game left on the schedule. No, Virginia, Georgia, Navy, Virginia, Georgia Tech, Stanford.
So while that's a great question, I'm going to have to be real, not cynical, and say no. There's not a damn thing that Cincinnati can do to help themselves anymore.
No, they need help. Them coming in at 6 this week in the official rankings says they need help.
Let me close the door on my conspiracy theory. Here's what the committee should have done to pull their underhanded bullshit. Oop, I cursed. Oh well.
Hey, man.
Hurt my feelings.
Right? This committee should have put them at 4. And as the rest of the college football world takes care of business, if they do, oh gosh, we don't have enough evidence to keep the Bearcats in. Oh, and their C looks like the Chick-fil-A logo. Oh no. Okay. That you would have had a fighting chance at looking credible. But you didn't do anything different than you did to UCF in 2018 or 17 for that matter. And I'm not using that example because I cover them. I'm using them as another G5 that you've screwed. And you did the same thing to Memphis. Okay? This is why teams are jumping to the Big 12. Here's the ultimate con, gentlemen. They jump from the G5 into the P5 ranks, thus making the G5 weaker, further asserting control of what's going on overall. They've hustled both sides of the road, gentlemen, and that's what we're observing. I'm sorry, Jim, but my cynicism was absolutely correct here.
I'm not disputing with you on that one now.
They're gonna get fucked. You know why? Because even if they do their job, and let's say even some of the Big Ten teams get knocked out, if Oklahoma keeps winning, they'll probably get favor over Cincinnati, and I hate that.
That's when I put Twitter down because one of my would-be teammates at this place I can't announce yet started going through the different. This team does this, and if all of them fail, then Oklahoma's. I'm out.
I'm not saying it won't happen because I've made that mistake already once this year, but I don't see how Oklahoma. I mean, I personally don't see Oklahoma getting through the rest of their schedule.
I don't.
Be honest.
I don't think so either. But if they
Taylor this weekend at Oklahoma State in 2 weeks, and then if you survive those, a Big 12 title game, I don't see.
Right.
Oklahoma passing.
This is the assumption they went out. I'm saying if they went out the schedule though, and let's say some Big Ten teams end up losing on the top end by the end of the year, they will get more favor over Cincinnati. It's not fucking fair. I get it, but
I mean, here's the thing: the Big Ten, Michigan State at 3, Ohio State at 5, Michigan at 7.
They're
at
fine.
least 2 of those teams will find their way out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's simple math, because Michigan State plays Ohio State, and Ohio State and Michigan play each other. So
what about Iowa?
Well,
that's funny.
You know,
Let's ask Gary Barta.
The winner of the Big Ten, I guess, East and West. The East winner would play the current West leader, Wisconsin, in the Big Ten title game.
Right.
Which tells you how lopsided those divisions are.
Wow.
Right, exactly.
Well, and basically, here's the question to pose. You guys are all making the great points about destiny and who can control this and who can see themselves out. Who is the one in the top 6 that has the least control of what they can do?
The least control?
Yes.
Cincinnati.
That'll be all.
Yeah. And it sucks. Yeah, they need help. And it's fucking shitty, because they've done everything in front of them.
And then the powers that be or the fans want to give UCF flack for promoting an NCAA sanctioned, by the way, national championship by way of the Colley Matrix. I'm not going to bore you to explain that unless you really want it. But they didn't claim a championship. One of the polls sanctioned by the NCAA had them at the #1 spot. Now, there was a lot of statistical anomalies that made it happen, but hey, UCF going undefeated in and of itself is a statistical anomaly. Right. But I digress. So I say again, what recourse do these teams have? I think I'm done for the moment. Yeah. I don't want to get too drunk. I got more pods to do tonight.
Before we get to a different style of like pick'ems this weekend, just looking back, because there's only one game with 2 top 25 teams against each other. So I'm not going down that road. I'm going down a similar road that we went down a couple weeks ago. But looking back at the Big Ten games from this past weekend, the 2 big ones, obviously Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State, Penn State. What's the biggest takeaway you guys have from those games this past weekend, EJ?
I mean, we have to revisit this Jim Harbaugh thing again, I guess. I mean,
do we?
I mean, we're going to regardless. I mean, even though he's 7-1, because again, at this point,
but my problem with that statement, because I saw it over the weekend, is if you can't watch what that team did this weekend and see and this, for quite frankly, this entire season, it's the thing we've talked about. If you can't look at this year's team compared to, and I'm not even counting last year, go back to 2 years ago, 3 years, 4 years ago. If you can't look at this year's team and see that there is a difference in this year's team versus previous teams, then I don't know what to tell you. Because previous Michigan teams would have been dead at halftime in multiple games this year.
Yeah. I'm like, it's kind of like saying there's no difference.
If you're going to give a guy an extension, you're going to give him an opportunity to clear staff and to retool things, similar to what Notre Dame did with Brian Kelly after the 4-8 season.
Well done.
You have to give it more than 8 games to make it happen. And like I said, if you can't look at this game and other games this season and see that I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying that you should give this guy 10 more years, but I think you should give him a hell of a lot more than 8 games if you're going to give him the opportunity to clear the Etch-a-Sketch and start over with the drawing. You have to give it more than 8 games, and this team is different. Now,
I agree.
Are they going to beat Penn State? Are they going to beat Ohio State? I don't know. But this team is different. This team would not have even been in a position to come back at the end when you go down, come back at different points throughout this season when you went down. So I don't think you need to revisit the Harbaugh thing with me.
No, and nor should we honestly do that. I'm not saying we should do that. I'm not saying by default it's gonna.
But it's going to happen. You're right.
It's already happened.
Fucking conference, and it is what it is. Should he get fired? No, he should not get fired because I mean, again, will we say all the time, Kyle, about this? We're going to fire him. What's the idea? Get someone better. Who's out there's better than Jim Plummer right now? Good luck with that. Or maybe Ed Orgeron?
Jesus
Christ. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's my point, though.
Hey,
I mean, are
Jim,
you gonna,
don't you disparage that friendly man.
I like Coach O, but come on now. I mean,
I hate
are you going to look at Cincinnati with Luke Fickell? Are you going to go that route, which is a fair route?
Nick Fickell, Chad Greenwell.
Let's be real. He shot the ball in the Ohio State games, the Michigan State games. I get that, but he's still a quality coach in college football. Hardly anybody beats Ohio State. His name is Alabama, and an occasional Iowa.
And again, the thing I've said for years with him is if you look at where Michigan was when he took over, compared to where Ohio State was, compared to where Penn State was, compared to where even Michigan State was at the time. If you can't see that he is making that program better, I don't know even how to talk football with people.
You deserve to be in the middling of the Big Ten. Sorry.
It's and here's the thing. I think I learned more about Michigan State this weekend.
I know I did.
Because I thought that Michigan State, and because I said last week, Michigan State and Michigan had similar resumes coming in. But I thought, Michigan State's just going to be Michigan State. It's the old adage.
But they are who we thought they were.
And at some point they were going to do it. But Michigan State surprised me this weekend. Ohio State didn't surprise me. Penn State probably surprised me more in Ohio State because they actually put up an effort in Columbus. But Ohio State, it didn't surprise me that they struggled because I don't think they're as good as people want to make them out to be.
One last thing to wrap up the conspiracy theory portion of what I'm saying. Gentlemen, are you aware of where College Game Day is going to be this weekend?
Cincinnati.
Isn't it interesting that they make that pick on Monday, knowing those rankings are going to come out Tuesday, and then Saturday, what do you think's going to be drowning the College Game Day discussion? But Kyle, that would have happened anyway. Probably. But let's also keep in mind how much, in the past at least, not this season, that the Game Day crew would bring up UCF during their bye weeks. They're playing the card of controversy and get it up front. Gentlemen, this is a multimedia conglomerate of that knows exactly how to manipulate tools and get them thinking the wrong way. Tools, for example, that tweet out, so the committee's top four I have little to no problem with. Oregon's win in Columbus must count for something.
Quote unquote, motherfucker.
What is the? Let me find the tweet. I said I tweeted this as the playoff ranking show is coming on the air. I said the production value that ESPN puts into we're going to screw over more deserving teams to put in less deserving big conference schools is nauseating. I mean, and it is. I mean, it is a major production. But let's go this way. Like I said, I'm not gonna. I think it's what Auburn and A&M is your top 25 head to head. We're gonna look at the 9 teams in the top 10 that are playing this weekend, and we somewhat rapid fire these.
Okay.
You can go longer form if you need to, but are any of these teams? And you get to laugh at the first one. Are any of these teams on upset alert? Missouri at number 1, Georgia this Saturday at noon.
Mizzou, yeah.
My answer to that one.
Hell no.
Yeah, on that one because yeah,
that one's easy. I'm just going to move to the next one. Number 5, Ohio State at Nebraska Saturday at noon.
Even easier. No, their head coach has 2 winning seasons, and one of them is an undefeated season.
And I think he's losing. I think he's losing his mind and that locker room. So no, EJ.
Yeah.
No. Come on. No. Hell no.
Number 9, Wake Forest at North Carolina Saturday at noon on ABC.
This is of the bunch here is the one that if we were going to look at an upset alert would be the one.
I absolutely say yes on this one.
I think it'll happen, but I'm just saying this is the
I
one.
don't, because Sam Howell is the most overrated quarterback in college football.
I'm not saying what happened. I'm just saying that's the one would one be the one alert.
In the words of Dave Chappelle, that's right, I said it.
Shut it.
Tulsa at number 6, Cincinnati, Saturday 3:30 on ESPN2.
Last year, I would have said a hell yes, but they've lost too much material on offense. This is, how's the song go? Hell to the now, hell to...
Let's move on. Let's move on because we know the answer to that question.
Number 3, Michigan State at Purdue.
I don't
3:30
know.
on ABC.
They played Notre Dame pretty close.
They were in the top 25 at one point, Kyle.
So
Yes,
Purdue,
according to Gary Barca.
So, if I'm ranking these, this would be the second game of this bunch. It would be the weird, could be weird, frisky game.
Get the
frisky. There's the
frisky. I got to drop it in, man. Come on. But no,
you're insulting the word frisky.
I'm just saying that if there's a game that of the 2 games, the 8 games in this fucking slot, that maybe one of these 2. That's it.
The only way is if Michigan State is still looking back at their win over Michigan. But right now, I don't see that happening.
But that's such a pretty win. Oh my God, what just happened?
Jim, not saying this is going to happen, but we've seen that play out with a lot of teams in the top 10 this year. They win a big game one week, and the very next fucking week they lose to a game they should have lost.
Just I would be more New York Jets, right?
I would be more concerned about this game for Michigan State if their game against Ohio State was next week. If this was like
of course, I mean,
if this was the buffer between 2 big games, but you have Maryland next week, so I don't think you're going to catch Michigan State looking back and ahead at the same time. So
but if they had the other one, you would be in Admiral Akbar mode. It's a trap.
It's a trap. All right, Navy at number 10, Notre Dame, 3:30 on NBC and Peacock. Just because Notre Dame hasn't been the best at I mean, even the last couple of weeks, their offense has been moving better. The limiting of possessions that Navy does, I will say yes on this one.
Okay, here's what will really happen. They'll be up by 30, and Jim will still be tweeting about the defensive pass interference that happens with 5 minutes left in the 4th quarter.
Goddamn right.
Like a Cowboys.
Damn right I did.
Well done. Well done.
Like a Cowboys fan. Oh wait, yeah. Navy wins. Let's move on.
Why do Cowboys fans impact you, EJ?
I say they're not in the Patriots division.
Shut up.
LSU at number 2, Alabama, Saturday 7:00 on ESPN.
2 years ago, when I said this would be upset alert, but no.
I'm gonna say the stupid thing and say because they're in the same conference and because I've seen moments of weakness of Alabama screwing off against Florida, I would say this is one of my top 2 that I'm most inclined to think is problematic.
I think this could be risky.
Oh, me too. Frisky first quarter. That's it. Goodbye.
Friskier if it was in LSU, but I'm not buying into it too much.
Enough.
Oh yeah.
Indiana at number 7, Michigan, Saturday 7:30 on Fox. No way.
Michigan's fuming after last week.
Yeah, I think this is a big win. They have to
go blue. Either
that, or they fold up into their shelves and spin in free fall, as Michigan programs have done in the past.
But they're still in this thing, though. They went out. They'll probably still crack.
I think them coming in at 7 is going to give them focus that if they would have come in 8, 9, 10, if you realize season over. But, they still have Ohio State out there. Ohio State still has to play Michigan State. Crazier things can happen.
You're both right. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but the question posed is which do I think is the best top 2 possibilities of things going totally wrong? The bottom 2 are mine.
By the way, breaking news, the Heat just won by 15 points. Next.
Nobody cares.
What are you supposed to say, EJ? No, get the goddamn line right.
That's for Matt. Go Heat, bitch. That's for Matt, though. That's for Matt. Hey, Matt. How you doing, buddy? Go Sixers. Ha ha. Anyway.
Finally, number 4, Oregon at Washington. Saturday, 7:30 ABC.
It's not on the list. What the fuck?
I must have overlooked it.
See,
how dare you, buddy?
Real analysts and professionals roll with the host as they're supposed to do.
Look, I got a list. I will say, I don't need a list. You just made a list.
I will say that I'm able to perform without said list, and I have no fear whatsoever because it's not Oregon State, and they've already lost to Stanford. So no.
I'll say
You just made the list.
EJ.
Come on now. Let's go. Oregon.
All right. Before we get to some of the NFL discussions, this one kind of fell in there because he calls NFL games, but he's also calling baseball games. And for whatever reason, in the past, Kyle's going to, you know what, just go start drinking out of the bottle, Kyle.
Calm down, 7-5. Calm down.
Don't even bother going to the cup.
Oh, hey, props for calling me by my number. That was cool, EJ.
Your height too. So
I've seen so much Joe Buck hate this week. Like I don't get it. I've never gotten it. So can somebody, maybe like I'm a 5-year-old child, can somebody explain to me the Joe Buck hatred? Because I don't get it.
Well, EJ, since you're a Joe Buck lover, should I just take this so we can move on with this damn segment?
Go right ahead.
So here's where it starts for me personally. First of all, whenever I've heard him interviewed, he's come on Colin Cowherd's show a couple times. I'll give the guy a little credit. He makes it tough to dislike him. He seems like a nice enough guy or whatever. But let's be honest. If his name were Joe Smith and not Joe Buck, he never would have made it to the record, or excuse me, the career path that he has. There's number one. The other piece is, it smells great, man. Don't hate Maker's Mark.
I'm with you, brother.
So
I'm only 2.5 hours away from you, so yeah, I smell it.
True. So as far as him calling baseball games, I obviously don't watch baseball. Maybe he could change your damn life. During one of these interviews with Colin Cowherd, I've heard him also admit that he does not prepare to call games, which means he is leaning entirely on his staff. Now, I don't know how true that is or isn't, but this is words from his mouth, so I'm very confused on how to take that. And finally, the complete and utter overreaction, even before he was a Disney employee. Actually, Fox Sports didn't get bought up, but you see what I'm saying. He might as well be one. With the whole thing where Randy Moss pretended to moon the crowd in Green Bay. What
is a disgusting act.
My man, I thought you had it.
That's the one. That's the one.
Now, let's keep in mind, this isn't going to be a stupid situation the moment that you make it possible to defend Randy Moss. This is not a guy who should be, this is straight cash homie guy. And I know he's a great player, and he was probably a tough teammate to have because he was great at his job. At least this is kind of something I've heard Colin Cowherd portray on his show about working with him as an analyst. You know, he's tough to work with because his standards are so high. Now, granted, Colin Cowherd wouldn't have been present when he said something to the caterer in Tennessee about how he would feed this food to his dog during his last step of his career, but we don't have to tear the man down. The punchline is, the crowd did much worse to Randy Moss by actually mooning him and giving him the finger as classy Wisconsins do. And all he does was pantomime a moon. Now, granted, this day and age, he damn sure would have been slapped with 15 yards.
Sure.
And if they want to do that, you think that's taunting? And if they wanted to do that,
in today's NFL, they probably would have shot him on the field like a horse who broke his leg.
Oh my God!
Yeah, right.
But at any rate, even if it got laundry back then, I don't know. I would have disliked it, but I don't know that I would have been mad at it. I wouldn't have hit the clip again, Jim.
That is a disgusting act.
That is not the direction I would have gone. And even to this day, sir, Joe Buck himself regrets even making that comment. So, if you wanted a microcosm of why we should hate on Joe Buck, there you go.
Joe Buck yourself.
I was hoping you would deliver that.
Like I never necessarily like loved or hated the guy. I never understood the hate.
Did I give you insight?
Yes. And I can understand like the nepism thing that people don't like about him, because it's one of the things that I dislike about Jack Collinsworth.
Oh God, you're at 100% correct. Well done. Give yourself a bell, Big Jim.
Like yikes. And I'm only subjected to it more because he's on the Notre Dame on NBC calls.
Oh, you got to be. I'm so sorry, Jim.
Well, he's like on the pregame and the halftime show, so I can kind of avoid it. But like, I feel like it's
you
only
really
a matter
can't. Not if you're a fan. That doesn't count.
Like, I feel like it's only a matter of time before he finds his way into the booth for that.
I'm so sorry, Jim.
So like, I get that portion of it, but like, for me, you know, and over the last couple of years, like he's done a lot of interviews on Dan Patrick. He's done a great couple of interviews.
Great interview
with Howard Stern.
Mm-hmm.
And on one of the ones with Stern, like he talked about when he did like hair plug surgery, and he actually one of his like vocal cords got like paralyzed, and he literally lost his voice. And I feel like since then, I like, because I think it was like 2012-ish to me, like I feel like there's a different Joe Buck now than there was before, where I feel like he kind of appreciates what he does more now, and he has a little bit more of a sense of humor about himself. See the show Brockmire, things like that. So like I said, I've never understood the hate. You know, I
do you understand it better at least?
A little bit.
Okay.
It's at least I appreciate an opinion that isn't just he hates my home team.
Oh, dude.
That's what a lot of people present to me,
especially in baseball. That's pretty much apropos.
Oh, well, and thank you for filling that in, EJ. I couldn't have provided that. I appreciate that. Right. But like, listen, if we're going to knock anybody for being Homer as bleep on calls, that's Aikman. Okay, let's be clear.
But like,
yes,
so you know, I've never gotten it with Buck. EJ, any thoughts?
Joe Buck, you know, I get the hate because he sounds condescending, whatnot. But
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Please don't bury my lead in saying he's hard to dislike. Like when he's in an interview and someone's talking to him and he's being a dude, I would take this bottle of Makers and go to his house right now and talk to this guy.
Well, for me, Joe Buck is a good luck charm for me, because one of my all-time favorite playoff runs in sports history was the 2007 New York Giants Super Bowl championship run. And every single playoff.
But that didn't end well for you. Why do you like it so much?
Shut up. Every single game that we played, Bucks, Cowboys, Packers, and even the Super Bowl was broadcast on Fox.
Because the NFC's on Fox.
He broadcasted all 4 games, even the Super Bowl. So it was kind of like a good luck charm, if you will. Like he was the voice of that run for us.
Last thing I'll add up to is remember
me personally. So
yeah, last thing I'll add to on the reasons why list for Jim. Would you rather have Jim Nance or Joe Buck calling your football game?
Man, I love Jim Nance, man.
Would you rather have Al Michaels or Joe Buck calling your football game?
Al Michaels, if I get the old Monday Football Crew with Dan Dierdorf and Frank Gifford.
That's not.
I was going to say, well,
because I love that fucking team. I love that team.
If I don't,
Dan Dierdorf is not that good. I said it.
No. Okay. So there's some truth to that, but he, with the right pairing, he fits. He was good with Greg Gumbel, and he was good with.
Greg Gumbel is probably the single most underrated talent, and I take him over Joe Buck. And both you haters are going to leave Pat Summerall off the list because you're both hater-ass haters.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. I brought the fire on that one.
We're going there.
I chose violence on that. That's
First off, Pat Summerall is my favorite play-by-play guy in history of sports.
No kidding, really? Oh my gosh.
So stop.
That might be the most credible thing you've ever said.
In fact, he has my greatest call of all time at Candlestick Park, 1990 NFC title game. The kick is good, and there'll be no three-peat for the Niners, of course. Thank you.
Is that supposed to hurt my feelings?
Dude, Madden and Summerall together?
The greatest of all time. The greatest of all time.
My God.
Fucking A.
Put some respect on
that. They are a ear orgasm for me when I listen to them. I literally watch old games on YouTube solely to listen to them talk. I'm dead serious. For years, been doing this.
I can.
They're amazing.
I'm gonna make you guys choose violence with this take. You know, Pat Summerall's only limitation?
John Madden.
that he was paired with that overrated John Madden. I said it.
John Madden was great for a little while. To me, and Kyle, I actually see where you're going with this. When Madden went to Monday Night Football, when he went downhill from me.
I'm not saying John Madden is the best play-by-play guy. I'm saying that the duo of Madden and Summerall
Correct. Madden with Summerall was a elite, and a lot of what that was due to Pat Summerall. Absolutely correct on that one, now, Kyle. Pat Summerall, the golden voice, I call him.
Yeah, I'm saying it's the pairing. It's not Madden. It's the pairing.
What made him so great too is that even in those moments, like for example, I was just telling you about the when he the Giants Niners in 1990 in the title game. He wouldn't even yell. He just his voice translated so well.
He didn't need to. You're absolutely
which is what
right.
hurts.
It's amazing.
Which is what hurts Al Michaels now because he's paired with that freaking windbag Chris Collinsworth
That made me cry. That hurt me.
So I've come to a better place. Dude, if you find old tweets of me from like 10 years ago, you find tweets of me like cussing out Chris Collinsworth. I've come to a better place than Chris Collinsworth in recent years. I don't love him, but I've come to a better place than him as of late.
Even after he's released that farce Pro Football Focus and has unleashed Mike Florio on the world, you like him better?
I don't follow that. I don't follow the bullshits. I don't care. I'm just saying I'm not.
Well, he's one of the main entities associated with it. Just so you know.
Right.
Collinsworth is awful. It's not good either way. There's no redeeming qualities.
But I am a big Al Michaels guy, though. Al Michaels with Deardorff and
Michaels, man.
You better believe in miracles, motherfucker. Especially you, hockey
love
fan.
Al Michaels. For those that care, going into the bottom of the fifth, 6-0 Braves. So that one looks like it might be.
And my son's awake.
Up here tonight. All right. Looking at the NFL before we get to games, the Saints with a big win against Tampa this past weekend.
You mean Tom Brady doing Tom Brady things, right?
Shut up. To dig at me.
That's why he even warned you. I even warned you, but you decided to double down. How about you give me that Trump impression again? Anyways, go ahead.
Don't be rude. Sorry, my son.
What's up, little buddy?
Hello, young man.
The Saints,
you, Tom. I mean, Eli,
with a big win, find themselves not only in a playoff discussion, but find them back in the discussion, a half game currently out of first place in the NFC South. But they lose Jameis Winston for the remainder of the season. So now your quarterback option, unless you sign somebody, I don't even know who's out there to sign, but unless you sign somebody, your quarterback options are Trevor Siemian. Fuck. Why did his name just go out of my head? Who's the guy they keep bringing in on those stupid packages?
Cam Newton.
No. Son of a bitch.
If it makes you feel better, Jim, I'm totally blanking on it too.
I don't know either.
Oh my God.
I don't know either.
I'm pulling it up right freaking now. Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. There he is.
Trevor Siemian, Taysom Hill, or Ian Book.
Did you hear a rumor about Phillip Rivers like consider taking a phone call?
I want the record to show. I want the record to show that the Notre Dame guy laughed the hardest at Ian Book.
Yeah, because I'm the one who had to watch him every week for 3.5 seasons.
He's got some history from that guy.
Yeah, it was good 3 years, but I don't think it was because of Ian Book.
At least you weren't in a pickle. That's a Jimmy Clausen joke for those that have been following along.
Yes, we got that.
It's for the audience, damn it. Thank you.
If I'm the Saints, I'm calling Cam Newton. I'm calling Phillip Rivers. I'm calling Drew Brees at NBC.
Call Tony Romo while you're at it. Why the hell
Tony Romo.
I'm gonna say that.
He's not answering call. He's a nope. Not
you call Eli? Would you call Eli?
I was just gonna make that joke. See, damn.
I mean, the Manning family in New Orleans, man.
I mean, if the Jets didn't already snag Joe Flacco,
right? Trade deadline come and gone.
Go down to Flacco. He's done.
No, that's always going to be a punchline. It's never.
Yeah, I know.
Man. can the Saints keep this thing rolling with Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill and company?
Let me go first, really quick.
Okay.
I have faith in Sean Payton to get the job done, to get to the playoffs. But they're a one-and-done team in the playoffs once to get there. Okay? I mean, this team in my top 10 this week because of Sean Payton. Sean Payton, and their defense is playing okay also, too, in spots. Yeah, they get to the playoffs, but that's their ceiling. Their ceiling is a wild card game, and they're done.
I'm going to need to see who you left off before I condemn or confirm your choice of number 10 for the Saints, but that's a pretty big ask. And ironically, too,
the Chiefs off.
Say again?
The Chiefs off, and the Titans off,
actually,
and the Titans too because of Derrick Henry.
Well, I mean, we'll get to the Titans in a minute, I'm sure. But see here. EJ basically said it. I'm trying to put a more creative spin on it, and I can't do it. But the Saints are playing more defense than I would expect as well. So Sean Payton's doing his thing with the offense, and in light of that happening, can somebody get freaking Sean McVay out of my ear canal for a while? Okay. Oh, look, I'm doing great now that I have a good quarterback. Yeah, and
Sean Payton coach of the year.
Say again.
Sean Payton coach of the year right now. Coach of the year.
A little early for that. I need to see more than one, random win for that to happen, because they do have among the weakest secondaries in the league right now in Tampa.
But they also,
as evidenced by Trevor Siemian outplaying.
They also have two the biggest wins of the year, both against Green Bay and against Tampa.
Green Bay was a fluke, but you do have a point if you look at just the sacks.
The game happened. The game happened, though, Kyle. So I mean,
this isn't college football.
Did they play the game? That's it. They play the game. I'm not saying they're good, because I think they're one and done team, but they do have two biggest wins of the season.
So since you're going to say that, I'm only going to respond by saying, so we can move on to the next topic, and I can get my dunk on you in again.
You can't dunk on me. You're old. And you're 7'5". Come on now, dude. You're cheating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is what happens when Muggsy Bogues tries to cover George Marasan. Anyways, the two references nobody's going to really know except for probably you guys and some of our.
I don't think Jim knows that reference. So what the fuck you talking about?
Oh, whatever.
Basketball, buddy.
Andre the Giant and the 1-2-3 Kid. There you go.
Ooh, I like that. That's good.
So, see, Jim's white. He's impressed. Look at him.
Or Paul White in 1-2-3 Kid.
I'm proud of you, Kyle.
But the main shoot. Oh yeah, here we go. So if the Packers go out and have a horrible game, how did Sean Payton's coaching make that happen? No, that was a psyche thing. But I am more than happy to consider him a candidate in the event they make the playoffs. We've done that before. I'll put it's an option call on the stock market.
All right. I like that. Yeah, I think if the Saints find themselves into the playoffs, they'll quickly find themselves out.
Easily.
See, if it's a shootout scenario, I really would need to see the opponent before I can sign off on that.
I mean, right now, who's your NFC number 2?
Well, that's the thing. If they play the Packers again, which fit that profile, they're not going to let that ish happen again. That happened in week 1, so that's not an option, right? If it's a team like the Cardinals, who are suddenly far more limited on defense than they were, rip JJ, and a shootout occurs, it's Sean Payton versus Cliff Kingsbury. I don't care what Kyler Murray's doing.
Well, right now, again, we're sitting here not even at the halfway mark of the season. But if the playoffs started today,
I love this part of the song.
It would be the Cowboys hosting the Saints.
Cowboys win, going away.
You the Cowboys in that one.
I'm not going to answer that question until I know who's at quarterback, because the whole Cooper Rush, what's his damn name? I don't know. He's got a great beard, by the way, Jim. I'm sure you love it. But with him starting in a playoff scenario that has to be accounted for, and you're asking for me to go Sean Payton versus Mike McCarthy, bruh. Okay. And you still have yet to have your air quotes best veteran defensive player on the field. Micah Parsons, great though. Don't get it twisted. And if the Cowboys win that game, I believe it'll be Micah Parsons. That would be the difference. But that's not a gimme. I would pick the Cowboys to win, but the Saints would cover.
Maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in the current quarterback situation. I just,
nor should you.
To me that is a hard play.
And by the way, if Dak is starting, yeah, never mind. Everything I said was just.
I mean, he's set. He's going to be healthy this week and playing. So I don't think that is going to be. I don't think it's going to be a long-term issue for him. All right,
I just want to make the beard joke.
Let's go to the games this weekend. Week 9, the teams on a bye: the Bucks, the football team, the Lions, and the Seahawks. Although
the Red Tails, right?
Although the Lions, you could argue, were on a bye last week, but that's neither here nor there.
And the bye is still favored by 2 touchdowns this week. Anyway,
yeah, you ain't kidding. Boy, Jared Goff, that has to be a harsh reality sitting in right now as the air's turning colder in Detroit and your team's getting worse. Going, man, I miss Los Angeles.
EJ, tell Big Jim what I used to say about Jared Goff, if you can.
He's a game manager.
I blank at Goff. I scoff at Goff. Right?
Yeah, something to the effect. Yeah, I remember that.
It stinks.
The 3-4 Falcons at the 5-2 New Orleans Saints, who are a 6-point home favorite. 40.5 is your over/under. This one Sunday, 1:00 on Fox. This, much like a couple of weeks ago, gentlemen, not the best NFL slate.
No.
For this upcoming weekend. I think the Falcons can cover. The Saints are going to win this game. I'm going to take the over because I need the fantasy points with a couple of people.
I have the over on this one. I'm with you also. I think Atlanta can cover this game, honestly. Saints win, but Falcons cover.
I beg your pardon. What's the number for over/under?
41.5.
42.5.
Oh yeah.
Damn it. Never mind. Pick because if it was in the 50s, I'd be like, gentlemen, I got news for you. I'm taking the under. But that being said, I mean, Kyle Pitts is amazing, and as washed as Matt Ryan appears to be because he has no protection, he's still going to make plays because of Kyle Pitts. It's going to be a shootout, but at the end of the day, the slightly better defense and coach is Nolan's. I have them winning the game. I'll take Atlanta to cover because they'll blow it in the fourth quarter because their defense sucks, and I too will take the under because of backup quarterbacks.
But they are who we thought they were.
4-4. EJ's 4-4 Patriots. They're a 3.5-point road favorite at the 4-4 Panthers, who are in a free fall. 41 is your over/under. This one Sunday, 1:00 on Fox. But the Panthers right now, if the playoffs started this weekend,
they're in
the playoffs. The Patriots are on the bubble, sitting just outside the Los Angeles Chargers. Speaking of teams in free fall,
yep.
But I'm going to take the Patriots here. I don't think the Patriots are a great team, but I feel like they are on the upward trajectory where the Panthers are just. The graph is trending down, so I'll take the Patriots to cover and to win this game on the road. I'll go a slide over as well, over 41. Kyle,
the Patriots are in free fall and trending down. Is that what you're saying?
No. The Panthers are in free fall. The
Okay.
Patriots are in the up.
Although they did win this weekend against Atlanta.
Well, right.
Yeah, they're trending down. The fraud counts don't count. Okay, the fraud counts were leading how much of that game? Anyways.
They were 3-0. Yes.
Gentlemen, the Patriots are in the midst of making a great argument for what I've been saying for a while. We do realize the Patriots last year were a COVID outbreak away from making the damn playoffs.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And they're on their way with a rookie quarterback rather, that might help them sneak into a 7th spot. Now, because they needed the 7th spot to do it. I didn't make the rules, and I'm starting to sound like a Patriots fan like EJ, defending their weak schedules over the years when Tom Brady was still getting ousted in the playoffs before his second run of Super Bowls. But I say all the above to say the Patriots are more dangerous than you think.
Yep.
I'm going to call them winning this game. I'll say that they do not cover, but listen, death by 1,000 cuts is the football game that Belichick has always had. He just happened to have a quarterback that learned how to throw long to complete his role as one of the best game managers, not named Joe Montana, to play the game. Mac Jones is there. He's not going to make a lot of mistakes. I know he's had a bad game or two in the season, but listen, this is going to be interesting.
EJ.
24-21 Patriots.
All right.
So they get the over and Pats win, and
but they don't cover 3.5.
They don't cover, no.
Homer.
Bill, yeah. And Belichick might be padding up his coach of the year resume now if this continues.
There's no. I hear you, and you're not wrong, but they'll never pick it because they're hating on him too much because of the Brady thing.
Of course, yeah.
But you make a good point. He should be considered. You even kind of knocked me over with that. I'm like, yeah, I guess you gotta.
Yeah.
Again, speaking of teams that are in free fall, the 4-4 Browns travel to the 5-3 Cincinnati Bengals, who are a 3-point home favorite, 46.5. You're over under on this one, man. Between the loss to Pittsburgh and Odell Beckham's dad going off on social media about how Baker Mayfield doesn't throw him the ball, and now you got Browns players defending Odell and
LeBron too.
The LeBron,
yeah, God,
and the fans going on.
Annoying.
Man, one year of mild success, and Cleveland just couldn't handle it. The wheels are falling off this thing. The Bengals a surprise loss, at least maybe to some, to the Jets this past weekend. I like the Bengals to get back on track against the Browns team that just is completely losing itself. I'll take the Bengals to cover. I will take the over in this one as well. But the Browns are in big trouble. Big trouble, EJ.
Yeah, give me the under this game first off. And I'll take the Bengals here to cover as well too. Back on track.
Kyle.
The Bengals' main thing is to try to control the run and let Baker crash like he always does. I too have the under. Where are the points going to come from on the Cleveland side? I just don't know. I think Joe does his Joe Cool impression. Does the wannabe Montana thing, or I should say second coming of Montana thing, personality-wise. I have under. I have a victory and a cover for the Cincinnati Bengals. Show me something, Cleveland. I don't believe in you.
Speaking of that Bengals Jets loss, did you see the guy who bet $1,000 that the Jets quarterback would lead the league in passing this weekend and cashed in at 150,000?
If you got cojones that big, may the force be with you.
Which also, I look at that and I go, so that means he literally had $1,000 to light on fire, because that's basically what he did.
Either that or a lot of Americans make bad financial decisions,
sure.
Jim, but I don't want to make this a political show.
Why? It's fun.
Let me ask this. Let me ask this. The Jets obviously invested a lot in Zach Wilson. He's out for at least, 2 more weeks?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if the Jets rattle off 2 more wins in more convincing fashion? Is there a controversy, quote unquote,
you would
in
have
New
to
York,
think so.
or does Wilson get the ball back right when he's healthy?
You would have to think so, that there is a controversy. It's a rookie quarterback, right? Am I crazy there?
I think so.
No.
Why?
Rookie quarterback makes sense.
Let's put it this way. We live in a world where quarterbacks pull a butt ton of salary. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As a rookie, you don't. A good franchise
will
go off of a guy where they've screwed up. Robert Saleh and that front office will be tested if Wilson continues to, if this guy continues to do well, while Wilson isn't. Let's put it this way. In a world where there are 7 playoff spots, and if you're trying to make that, you keep him in. If you're still attempting to restructure and get the highest possible draft pick, you'll see Wilson back on the field.
Here's the deal. Your next 2 games. Now, this Sunday, you play the Colts, who are colting right now.
That's not fair. Andrew Luck was amazing, sir.
Well, that's true. so the Jets, and again, just looking at sheer numbers, they're sitting 13th currently in the AFC. The Colts are one ahead of them, then the Broncos, then the Browns, then the Chiefs. So there's room to move up if you're the Jets. You play the Colts this weekend, then you have the Bills. You have to assume the Bills are a loss.
Wait. We're doing this now? We're actually making cases for the Jets with the playoffs this year?
I'm not saying the Jets are going to make the playoffs.
Where have we gone? Mike White's changed the dynamic of that? Wow.
What I'm saying, if Mike White has a good game and beats the Colts this weekend, you're going to move above them. And then, if he has, I assume you're losing to the Bills. I'm not assuming that the Jets are going to beat the Bills. Okay. I'm not completely going crazy. But then after the Bills, you have the Dolphins, Texans, and Eagles. That if Smith looks good against Buffalo, and Wilson is due to return against Miami, that becomes a real hard question to ask yourself, depending on what else happens above you with the Broncos and the Colts and the Browns, who are all three teams that are.
Let me save you the stress and the excitement here. Ain't fucking happening.
I'm not stressed or excited.
We don't have to do it emotionally as you do, my good knee-jerk friend. What I'm trying to say is you're asking the Jets to go 8-2 in the next 10 weeks. 10 games, sorry.
The Jets. Okay, Jim, the Jets.
I mean, where did you have the Bengals in your power rankings last week?
Last week I had them at 7, this week 9.
You had them at 7 last week?
Yeah. Beat Baltimore that bad. Yeah, you should get some love.
Okay. I probably would have had them higher. And so I was just a little bit
I had the Cowboys, Packers.
We'll get to where you went wrong.
Come on. Cardinals, Rams, Bucks, really?
Again, I'm not saying that the Jets are a playoff team. I'm saying that if Smith looks good the next 2 weeks while he's under center, the Jets have a decision to make when Zach Wilson's healthy.
You mean White?
White, sorry. Well, when Wilson gets healthy, if White looks good the next 2 weeks, the Jets have a.
Let me save you to see a little more trouble here. Also, too, it's a game on the list. Colts win on Thursday night and cover. There you go. Moving on.
I'm not sure that that's accurate.
Moving on.
Well, we'll see.
All right, moving on.
Let's go to a team that we said we would probably talk about because it's the only, at least on paper, good game this weekend. But a unfortunate injury probably changes that one pretty damn big. The 6-2 Titans travel to the 7-1 Los Angeles Rams, a 7.5 point home favorite, probably likely to move again. If you're not catching this live or on Tuesday, don't take this as gospel. Check these numbers again later in the week. 54-0 over under Sunday night, 8:20 on NBC and at 7.5 with Derrick Henry being out, you're gonna, and I'm not a crap on Tannehill guy like so many people are, but I think you're gonna have to ask a lot more out of him against a really good defense, and I think it spells trouble. I like the Rams. I like the Rams to cover, and I'm probably going to take the under just because I don't think there's going to be enough points coming from Tennessee. Kyle.
For this, you make a great point about Derrick Henry missing. Can we please comment that they couldn't probably find a worse week to try to pull this off? Now, granted, Von Miller will probably not be in the rotation yet in their brand new flipping acquisition. That's absolutely an amazing deal for them to do. Bro, the Broncos are basically like, here's some money, give us picks, and let Vaughn play for you for a while. What do you think?
I saw how somebody was like, the Broncos are only 4-4. I'm like, have you seen what that 4-4 is? The Broncos are a bad 4-4. There's a reason. There's a reason they unloaded Von Miller.
Yeah, no, they're 4-4 with injuries too, man. Like, yeah, they're what they're hoping for is to get picks and put themselves in a position to get a quarterback later in the draft that they can hope to develop. There ain't no big name quarterbacks coming out. Ain't nobody that's going to be NFL impressive that I've seen. Correct me if you guys think I'm wrong there, but man, listen. You're asking Ryan Tannehill, who with protection is a good quarterback, just like I've been writing since 2018, 2019, my time with the Dolphins wire. Okay. Thank you, Titans, for proving me right. I actually thank Teron Davenport in Jacksonville ostensibly for that.
Yeah.
cool guy. No surprise there.
Indeed.
Yeah, for the week to have a back that's also great in protection when you're going against Aaron bleeping Donald, holy Christ. I got the under big time, and the Rams are going to win comfortably for a cover.
EJ.
Before I get to my pick, I'm gonna read you something from Facebook today that a little while ago my buddy Cameron McGeary, shout out to my boy Cam, posted, because I posted my rankings earlier today, and the Titans right now are the number one team in the AFC right now. Okay.
Isn't that a joke?
However, they're not in my top 10. And it apparently pissed him off. He said the quote, "The Titans are the number one seed in the AFC, and you have 4 AFC teams ahead of them, including the Bengals, who just lost the quarterback to the Jets." So I responded, Derrick Henry is high from IR.
Correct. And in your defense, when you wrote that, you probably hadn't heard that they had acquired Adrian Peterson.
No. I knew the AP. I don't care.
Well, thank you for ruining my segue to actually comment on the trade question.
Sorry.
He's such a professional, isn't he, Jim?
No, I'm a tool. No, I'm a tool.
Just
right. Sorry, Binford.
Get it right.
That would have been a great Halloween costume. Like, we dress up EJ as some sort of a tool with a blue handle. And
Jim, flash your names again. Flash your names.
And Jim comes in at a certain time. We call him Big Tim instead of Big Jim for the night with a home improvement theme. It'd have been great. Anyways, I was hoping for that support. I knew you had something.
You suck.
Yeah, I do.
But the punchline being, everyone who's reacting to that and saying Adrian Peterson isn't as good as Derrick Henry, duh. There's only one back who's as good as Adrian Peterson, and the Minnesota Vikings wasted him against the Cowboys. Right? You say that, but there are people that dumb out there, man. Hold on. And that running back was neutralized playing the Cowboys. I'm sure we'll get to that later. So they're going to use a committee system, guys. It just won't be in place yet to play a really badass defense.
Yeah, and look, the one saving grace of the Titans right now is that they have when you include the tiebreaker, a 4-game lead with the Colts. The problem is the schedules now in the next couple of weeks are going to flip now. Titans have some tough games ahead of them right now, and then the Colts schedule gets a little bit easier now.
Oh, their schedule for the year is awful.
Right. So therefore, the Colts can still make up ground in the next month right now, and they're playing the football. They should have beaten Tennessee this weekend. This past weekend, they should have beat them.
Yeah,
so,
well.
you saw that game play out. But my point is, Titans are done. Titans are fucked. Even if they make the playoffs, they're not one and done. Okay, without Derrick Henry. So is that simple?
Some of us said that would happen with Derrick Henry, but what do I know?
Right. So that said, under and Rams cover. Easy.
All right. Before we work our way out of here, talking about your power rankings, EJ. I'm a Cowboys fan.
Oh, you and Corey. Oh, Jesus. That's
a whole
I forgot that I did my first announcement of filed for content on this topic.
You should have been on the show tonight, man. Honestly.
That's a whole separate battle in and of itself.
Please don't put me within 10 feet of that conversation, please. Thank you.
Why? You like that? You live with this shit. Come on.
You do not want me to say what I have to say about that on the air. So moving on.
Look, I don't care how much you want to hate the Cowboys. I get that Cowboys haters everywhere. I get it. It's the cool thing to say that the Cowboys right now are a distant 5th in the NFC. If you want to put them at 5, I think right now you might be wrong. But I'll give you the Cowboys at 5 because that's what he said, right? That's what Corey said.
Just for conversation, where do you have them?
Number 2.
Not you, dummy. I mean, where are the Cowboys in the NFC? No, we'll get to you, Bob.
Dude, come on. This guy doesn't do rankings. This guy here.
Where do I currently rank them in the NFC?
Yeah, you said
I would probably put them above Arizona today.
Oh boy. Okay.
But it's close. Here's the deal, and this is what I mean.
It is close.
Like,
it is.
If you want to put the Cowboys at 5, I'm not going to argue with that. But to say that they are a distant 5 behind Arizona and Green Bay and Los Angeles, that's where I took umbrage.
You, sir. Ooh, umbrage. Nice.
How do you look at what the Cowboys have done so far this year and put them at a quote distant fifth?
He's using emotion on this whole thing.
Right.
Corey's a contributor to my podcast, especially. He's a great kid. He's a Giant fan too. He's a Giant fan also too. So we moved to the same team. But the difference between probably me and him is that I can separate my emotions from what is logic.
Now, he's
suck. Okay, the Cowboys are a very good football team. They are a Super Bowl contender. Live with it. Deal with it.
I'm not even ready to necessarily put them in that conversation yet. But the real point I was bringing up here is defend them at number 2 over Green Bay in your power rankings this week.
Please.
Green Bay is literally a bad route run from losing that game against Arizona. Okay.
Who was the only undefeated team that was left?
I get it. But what Dallas did on Sunday to me was even more impressive.
And sorry, dismissing the Packers and everything they were missing, including Devontae Adams, is just irresponsible.
Slow up. Green Bay went up 3 spots in my rankings this week.
No. I'm trying to agree with you for once. Settle down, Chief.
Oh, okay. I wasn't defensive mode with you. You know that.
That's my bad, actually.
Yeah. No. But the Green Bay was number 6 on my list last week. So it reflects on from where they were to where they are. Dallas, to me, what they did on Sunday, and again, I'm not saying Green Bay wasn't impressive. It was very impressive with COVID and all that shit. But winning without Dak on short notice like that, we're certainly going to play or not, and then still winning that game.
I disagree about the short notice part.
Well, okay, look, we thought that.
I think Dallas knew that Cooper Rush was playing for the 2 weeks they were off.
Look, it was impressive. Now I slice it. And I mean, you want to go 2A, 2B, so be it. But I'm just saying that it's Dallas. Look, the Super Bowl tiers right now in this league is 6 teams. Is my top 6 right now on my rankings currently today are the Super Bowl contenders in the league right now. Anything below that is not a contender.
So for people that haven't seen them, your top 10 is the Rams at 1, Dallas 2, Green Bay 3, Arizona 4, Buffalo 5, Tampa 6.
Cut it off right there. Boom.
But then you got Baltimore, Las Vegas, Cincy, and the Saints rounding out your top 10.
You're absolutely asinine for having the Ravens that low. You're out of your fucking gourd.
Did you see the last game they played? I'm just saying.
And
saying.
I don't.
It's not about Lamar. Lamar is MVP, in my opinion, but their roster is so dinged up that I can't trust them to look. Are they a playoff team? Absolutely. Are they going to win the AFC North? Most likely. Maybe. Most likely. But
how can you say that? They lost to the Jets.
But to put them in the ilk of the Rams and the Cowboys and the Packers and Cardinals, Bills and Bucks, that's another stretch right now with that roster. They're not a deep roster right now, which is why Lamar deserves MVP to begin with.
I see a lot of games the Bills limping by. I'm saying, but if I may weigh in quickly on this Cowboys piece, so I just don't sound like a giant hater, and as the poor bastard who started all this controversy by complete accident on Facebook.
I live for this shit.
I'm not in the ilk of the Cowboys Super Bowl contender yet. Now,
that's fine.
If I analyze, here's the analogy. One of you give me your favorite I'll say Jim in this instance because I have a feeling I'll be having a similar conversation with EJ Christian on the Earnestly Speaking podcast soon enough. Bing! Who's your favorite superhero, Jim?
Batman.
Oh, wonderful choice. So in Batman's case, he has a little bit less of an origin story where he kind of evolves as a hero, but we'll use the Bale movies. Because Justice League sucked. The whole situation there when he's going up and getting right with Ra's al Ghul, as played by Liam Neeson, he started doing some cool things, and he started playing right for justice. But until he finally comes across a Joker and wins, I'm not prepared to say he's the champion of Gotham yet. And the champion of Gotham would in case be the champion of Dallas in this instance. I love how you exposed Carolina like a Janet Jackson halftime show. That's wonderful. I enjoy how you did the same. Thank you. I enjoy how you did the same thing with the Vikings, but that one was far more self-inflicted because these dummies decided to hitch their wagon to the biggest choke artist in the NFL starting at quarterback right now.
You like that?
Thank you, EJ. That was right on cue. This is chemistry, gentlemen.
That is good. That is good.
Okay. I appreciate that at the wait. If they brought in that quarterback at the last minute, did you say? Would you say that they brought in Cooper in a rush?
Oh,
talent, man.
No.
Good,
so
folks. That's why he's the student of the game.
so, and they're getting the good performance from Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb and all those, Amari Cooper, of course, because we got the whole Cooper to Cooper thing, the most overrated and over-displayed effing stat in my entire effing life.
Trade Dak. He's done. Trade Dak.
God. By the way, side note, why didn't I get this kind of stuff when Tom Brady threw a touchdown to Kyle Brady? Okay. Anyways, here's some history for you, bitches. So they've done enough. They're still in the origin story piece. The Cowboys have not broken off from Ra's al Ghul yet, and I don't know what win that is, but they haven't done it yet to show it to me. But they're a good team. And listen, going into this season, I told you guys they'd make the playoffs and they would be a sacrificial lamb for a first-round exit, maybe win one playoff game in a fluke. They're going to get 2 playoff wins. They're not going to get past the conference championship game at this point, in my mind, depending on what the draw is and considering that the top 5 NFC teams are pretty badass.
Just don't give me Aaron Rodgers in the goddamn playoffs again, please. I don't need that in my life anymore.
No, here's what you do. You do that so you get the plot of Major League and you strike out Clue Hayward to win the game.
I love it.
By the way, that movie drop is something that we covered on Hilarity by Default when we did a required viewing for Major League.
Ding. Here's the deal. And this may just be me guarded over because of the last 25 years of my life. I'm scared.
He's scared.
I'm not ready to put the Cowboys in the Super Bowl contender conversation yet either. But what I will say is, and I will agree with something we've talked about off air, is this Cowboys team through 7 games feels a lot different than Cowboys teams in previous years. And your boy Corey bringing up about how the Packers are a couple of plays from this, and the Cowboys are a couple of Greg Zuerlein missed field goals from beating Tampa Bay on opening night. If you want to start going down the couple of plays here and there game.
See, but that's the difference. The Packers can actually hang something up for a win, whereas your biggest moment of the year, Jim, no offense, is a moral victory.
Absolutely. So far, absolutely. I'm not denying that.
Okay.
So I will say, to me, the Cowboys do feel different. This Cowboys team absolutely feels different.
Asked and answered. Listen, they would not have had multiple renditions of Janet Jackson halftime shows against opponents that we thought were good at one point.
Yeah. And like I said, Dak has to stay healthy. I'm regardless of what he did in Minnesota on Sunday night, I'm not confident that Riptide Rush is going to lead us to victory in the playoffs.
Trade Dak.
Dak needs to stay healthy. The defense needs to continue to develop. But like another point that a lot of people are missing, and yes, I have already seen some of the flaws and faults that are within Mike McCarthy, but Mike McCarthy leading a team into the playoffs, to me, feels a lot different than what Jason Garrett was leading teams into the playoffs with.
Or even this year with Cliff Kingsbury. Like, he hasn't been tested like that. You're absolutely right there.
Mike McCarthy's won a Super Bowl. Yes, he had Aaron Rodgers. I get it. But he has won a Super Bowl. He knows what it takes to lead a team through the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett didn't have that. Jason Garrett knew what it was like to take a team to the playoffs and lose in week 1.
I know what Jason Garrett had. A pair of hands.
I wouldn't put the Cowboys, if I did power rankings, I would not put them at number 2 over Green Bay. To me, Green Bay is a better team.
I'll do it for you. There you go.
There you go. I love that from you, Patriots fan. I love that from you.
Well, he certainly couldn't be a Giants fan. No Giants fan would ever do that.
Anything else, gentlemen, before we close this thing up?
Yeah, we did hit the Adrian Peterson thing. Yep, I think we're good.
Yeah.
You tell me, show host.
I think we're good. EJ, tell them where they can find all the things that you do.
Earth Speaker Podcast, of course. We're going to be finishing up my football awesome episode. I just got this off this call to talk to Kyle. I do the Game report, and then it'll be up tomorrow morning, as well as my wrestling podcast, Take 3 Wrestling. Big Jim will be on the show next week with us. On the show as Mike. I believe Mike won't be able to make that episode.
Can you guys do a conversation about a simulated match between Andre the Giant and the 1-2-3 Kid?
It's possible. Of course, I'm on Twitter at EJChristian7. Love conversation about anything, Adam. And yeah, great time as always, guys. I love it. This is a fun episode tonight.
Love it, Kyle. What do you got?
Hey man, listen, I'm still surprisingly sober. I didn't have to get that drunk. Granted, my shoulder's a little bruised from dunking on EJ so many times.
No more show left, buddy.
Fuck yourself.
Yeah, and listen, I love that you had that bite ready for that. It just poured salt in the room having to talk about that damn committee again. Of course, you guys can find me on Twitter at oh wait, hold on, I did it all wrong. I gotta name me first. Kyle Nash is doing the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the Student of the Game. Check out my work with the 3-point conversion. That's the number 3, 3pointconversion.com. And of course, check out my stylings talking about pop culture and movies with Hilarity by Default, my friend Demosthenes Euclid on the Hilarity by Default YouTube channel. Don't feel excluded, EJ. And of course, check out my work with the Captain and Company Morning Show and A7B on Sports on oldschool101.com. Also, A7B in Sports on Facebook as well. Yes, got to make sure we mention that. I got a little scolded by the captain the other day for that. Captain Chris Hill, my good friend, of course. We are doing all sorts of stuff with sports and local politics and goings on in the Central Florida area all around. But gentlemen, great times all the way around. And listen, I learned plenty, even though I schooled both you guys plenty. But until next time, class dismissed.
All right, you can find me at Big Jim Sports. You can follow the show on social media at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook and Twitter. You can also subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and everywhere else. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get our merchandise at whatamaneuver.net. And you can find our home network, NGSC Sports, at ngscsports.com. And our secondary home is, as always, the Leib Sports and Music Network, LEEIB Sports.com. Until next week, stay safe, stay smart, and go for the win.